Good morning, Napa Valley. There's two of me talking, so we're going to wait a minute. I'll just sign to you. Michelle, just turn off the TV for right now. Just turn off the TV. Okay, that should work that part about it. So welcome to everybody. What a beautiful day it is today at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Jay Lang. I'm the senior minister here, and it's so wonderful to see everybody here today on this Father's Day, Juneteenth, and Pride Month all together. And it's a celebration today that we know the greater truth of who we are. And we'd like to begin today with our music. Let's welcome Astra Fox.
Good morning. I am. Sing it with me. Here we go. I am powerful. I am. Your turn. I am powerful. I am. Let's take that from the top.
I didn't know that. I thought you were still playing with it.
I am powerful. I am. I can do anything. I can do anything. My life's created by me. In my body I feel freedom and peace. I can do anything, anything. My life's created by me. In my body I feel freedom and peace. I'm worthy. I am worthy. I'm worthy. I am. I can do anything. Can do anything. My life's created by me. In my body I feel freedom and peace. I'm powerful. I am powerful. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am. I'm worthy. I am worthy. I'm worthy. I am.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a great way to start today. And we also like to start each day with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look on the screen at home or here in the sanctuary and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious celebration today, as I mentioned. Happy Father's Day to all fathers here. It's a task that requires all of you, if you're willing to give all of you. So any father that's here with us today or on the screen, if you could stand up and let us acknowledge you. Thank you. I just acknowledge also people who have stood in the role of a father, either as a single parent or an uncle or a neighbor or a mentor in other ways, that this world needs more, needs a balance, I'll say this, of male and female energy. And although we talk about that in terms of gender, when on the divine level, we're talking about the receptive and the expressive. And we both need the receptive that's willing to seek the intuition, that which is within, seek that on a deep level, but also the expression, to be an advocate, to be willing to set boundaries, willing to say no when something's not right. And we know that's true that any person of any gender or gender expression can be that receptivity and that expression, and we need more of that. And as far as men go in particular, I think I'll also say that sometimes we as a culture set the bar low for what a healthy man is, and I think we need to raise that bar and expect more out of men, and I want men to raise their consciousness and meet that, both on a body, mind, and spirit in every aspect, because we need that energy in the world. We need a balance. We need everybody to fully show up if we want a world that works for everyone. So just challenging you guys out there to step up a little bit. So, and what I know is the men here that I look in the room, you are stepping up. And so I appreciate all that you're doing in the world. Yeah. This is also Pride Month and Juneteenth, which you might wonder what those two have in common, but it is this masculine, I will say, let's say expressive energy that is an advocate for people that have been suppressed in the past, that have stepped up to say it's that we need to remember everybody, to include everybody, and sometimes it requires legal policies to be put in place to prevent discrimination and as far as between gender and gender expressions too, equality of pay and the way people are treated with respect and dignity. And we can also be advocates. So it's Juneteenth, and if you don't know the story behind it, it's a story to remember that President Lincoln established the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, but slavery continued. It did not end with that proclamation. And it at least went to Texas in particular, but all the South was a little resistant to it. And messengers would be sent to Texas to tell them they need to free their slaves, and the messengers disappeared. Nobody quite knows where they went. So they ended up giving a whole army on a ship that came into Galveston Harbor on June 19th, 1865, to make sure these laws were enforced. And so that's why now Juneteenth, June 19th, is celebrated by all people, but especially the African American community that celebrates when freedom really began. Even though their challenges still continue, we know that there's still situations where discrimination happens in housing and employment, the way they're treated in the criminal system that needs adjustment, and that's why we continue to be advocates, the fight for greater freedom for all oppressed races, cultures, gender expressions, and orientations. The Human Rights Campaign, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's an organization, just declared a state of emergency for the LGBTQ plus people in the U.S. because there's an unprecedented and dangerous spike in discriminatory legislation sweeping state houses. More than 525 anti-LGBTQ plus bills have been introduced and more than 70 signed into law so far in 2023. Now, I know some of you wonder why I spend so much time in a faith community talking about that. That's because we're not there yet. And we need to continue to be that expressive advocacy to stand for people of all races, gender expressions, and orientations, and because it's still existing and we can do things as a faith community. The Southern Baptist Convention, I don't know if you've read this. This is just crazy in my mind. Just moved to strike women from holding leadership in its church. Just like eliminate it. And excommunicated 2 churches who were prominent who had women as leaders. One is Saddleback Church in Southern California that is a prominent, huge church in Southern California that's had a woman minister. Rick Warren used to be the minister there, the guy that wrote The Purpose-Driven Life. And then another one in Kentucky that had a woman minister for 30 years. And they just said, no, if you're not willing to get rid of your woman minister, you're not part of our denomination anymore. So that's sad. And what I know when I read the Bible is that love is love is love. And Jesus, if you want to focus on what Jesus taught, He said there were only 2 commandments. The rest that supersede all other laws and edicts that were made, and that's love your neighbor as yourself and love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and body. That's all. He never said anything about homosexuality, nothing. If it was important to him, he would have said something. And I'm sure it would have been recorded if he'd said something, considering the climate we have now. Now, Paul's a different matter. He was an angry man by his writings, angry against women and gays, and showed that. You know, who knows what was going on with him? I don't want to assume anything. But what I do know is that all are welcome here. We embrace all races, cultures, orientations, gender expressions, and faiths here. And I also have joined in our interfaith community other churches that are willing to stand in this truth also, that will accept and embrace and encourage leadership at all levels in their church, on the board, in membership, in activity, at clergy, prayer partners, board, every aspect of leadership. They not only accept it, but they invite it and encourage it. And the churches that have joined in this idea are First Methodist, which is down the street, Crosswalk Community Church, Congregation Beth Shalom, Unitarian Universalist, First Lutheran, that's on Elm, the Napa Friends Group, which is the Quakers. You know they would accept it, right? St. Mary's Episcopal, and probably one more that hasn't, that because they've taken stances previously, but I don't want to name them because they haven't officially joined us. But those definitely. Crosswalk is interesting because they put a sign out on their fence there at First and the highway, and it got defaced. And so this community is so wonderful under the leadership of Pastor Pete Shaw. They, as a community, did a project to remove it, but they did it during a service that people would come in and they took hand sanitizer, believe it or not, that's what was taking the paint off, and they did it together as a group process of love, of deeper connection and life. And they wrote on it, love is love, or love always wins, something like that. So it became an act of, instead of hatred, it was an act of love. And I think that's how we want to respond to things too. And how we respond to it is important. We don't respond with more hate, but with more love. I know there was back in 2003 down in Key West, Florida, there's, in the main island there, it's only 1.25 miles between the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. And they created this flag that spanned from sea to sea. And why that's important is then they took this flag and cut it into sections and put it in different communities. And I lived in Colorado Springs for 15 years. And I left primarily, a couple of reasons, but primarily because it was turning to be a religious zealot community. It wasn't when I first moved there, but a couple organizations moved in there. It really changed the climate there, and I was disappointed with that, and just wanted to go where I was more welcome and be in a progressive area. And I had an opportunity with a job in Denver, so I moved to Denver. But it really struck a chord of pain and sorrow when the Club Q tragedy happened, which was a gay bar that was where 5 people were killed and 7 wounded. And then it was replaced with Pride for Colorado Springs because it's not an organization, a city that embraces pride all the time. But because of that, they unfurled a piece of that flag, the C2C flag, on City Hall and gathered, and many churches embraced and supported those struggling with what happened on that day a year and a half ago. So, I mean, this is about what the response I'm talking about. And as I thought about this, I thought about the song, Tom Petty's song, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, but the lyric goes, well, we know what's right. In a world that keeps on pushing us around, we'll stand our ground and we won't back down. We won't back down. But we respond with love. We stand our ground with love, not with more hate, because that doesn't work. So I just want you to know that, and that we stand strong in this belief, and the reason we do it is because there's still oppression in the world. And we'll stand for any group that there's oppression, because we want a world that works for everyone. Everyone. So, just going on to certain events coming up. The solstice is coming up on just this Tuesday. We're going to have a big event. Michael's going to be leading some drumming. Virginia's going to be leading us through a ritual of calling in the directions. And then we're going to have a ritual around the idea behind the summer solstice is not releasing, but it's adding to the light, increasing our light, increasing our way of being. So it's exciting to be a part of that. And then on June 23rd, hopefully all you got flyers this morning for the Unbottled concert that's this Friday night at 6 o'clock. And but we're going to have our ribbons strewn across the courtyard, and we're going to have official cutting. And we have two dignitaries coming. City Council member Liz Alessio and Mayor Scott Sedgley are coming here to help cut the ribbon and open us up. And it's an official grand. I know you've been in and out of that courtyard all the time, but that was soft opening. This is going to be the grand opening that we're going to have. So please join us at 6. You can bring your own picnic and enjoy the evening that's going to be there. The Jealous Zealy group is a great group that's going to join us.
This ache, this give and take, this love we make from God now.
What's fun about that is one of the members, I don't know if he's going to be here Friday night, but as sort of a roundabout synchronicity is one of his band members is the brother of Diego Garcia. So a little bit of round synchronicity there. And then on July 9th, Imelda, do you want to speak about that some? Can you turn the blue mic on?
Good morning to all of you. So we would like to invite you to this event. We're going to appreciate Miguel Zulueta. He was the first person who planted the seed of Science of Mind here in Napa.
It's on just closer to
Okay.
your... Yeah.
So we would like to say thank you to him because he dedicated his time to teach us, because in that time it wasn't Zoom, no PowerPoints, everything was by phone. Can you imagine how hard it was for him teaching us only by phone? So we imagine the symbol of Science of Mind, and I mean, it was a hard time for him, but we are so glad because he continuing coming and teaching us and giving his time. So we would like to invite you that day. We're gonna have food, music, and some drinks, and it's gonna cost $20. And the food is gonna be from scratch. We call guaraches. And someone is gonna be doing outside. It's gonna be chicken, meat, and vegetables. So, and the food is gonna be ready after the service. If someone want to take home or eat here, so you are welcome. And also, after the service, it's gonna be open at 1:30. Whoever would like to enjoy with the music, and we're gonna have some games and prizes, so invite you to participate. So thank you.
Thank you. You could put that in there. And I don't know if you remember the food that was at Sip and Savor or their Grand Kermesse that was last year, but you want to save an appetite, okay? So even if you don't stay for the whole event, please support them and enjoy the food. So that's great. And then on the 29th of July is Crush MS. Invite you to be a part of that. Tickets are on sale now, as well as if you want to volunteer, talk to Karen Reed, but she's gone for a couple weeks on vacation, but she'll be back in time beginning of July that you can talk to her about that. So And then also we're still looking for a few volunteers to help in the garden as well as on the production team. Lori Hart is here, and if you've already signed up, please meet with her, like back behind here. Sure. Okay. Back in the courtyard, or if you haven't signed up yet and you're interested, she has these little things to do that can add to the garden things that take maybe 5 minutes a week at the most. So you can do them after church or come up and enjoy. But the courtyard is open all the time, so come and enjoy it just to find peace that you may want to seek. And to let you know, we are definitely here for you in every way. Prayer requests in the lobby. We have, I'll make the announcement during my talk, we have new practitioners, but I'll make that official thing. It's exciting. And so we love to pray for you and be willing to receive the prayer we offer, online prayers as well. Now, I'm going to invite Astra up for music, and this opens up our sacred time. And what I'd like to invite us to do is after the song is just, or even during the song, begin to drop into the sacredness that's in the sanctuary and find the peace that's within you. And Michael will lead us into prayer after that.
All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender.
As we just settle back now into this consciousness, into this space, into that divine oneness as we weave together, connecting with our mind, body, heart, and soul. I know that one presence, that one active energy in the universe is right here, right now. It's connecting with us. It's opening us up to our mind. It flows through our body, and it regenerates out into the universe. I know that consciousness is full of love, accepting everyone, everywhere, every minute. And I also know that it raises the vibration for the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living, as it brings that consciousness to the awareness of this beautiful Napa Valley and the consciousness of all the surrounding communities around it. I know this to be sound, and I know this to be true, and I give thanks. And so it is. As you move into that sacred space, taking a deep breath, going into that hum. And as you come back, I'm going to cut it a little short today because I had a couple things I wanted to say. Good day. It's nice to be here. First of all, I want to welcome the Fathers too, and June 19th and Pride Month is all happening all at the same time. And I got up this morning and, I grew up here in the Napa Valley. it wasn't as diverse when I was a kid at all. We had one black girl in the high school. She was actually what they called mulatto, so she blended in very well. There used to be a sign when I was a little kid that said, if you're black, go back, on the Napa Valley Highway. So it wasn't really most of the stuff's hidden from us anymore. So today I got up this morning and this song from the Winstons came on. I'm going to do a chopped version of it, but I really thought it was good and it kind of honored African Americans, also any father that's alive today, and I thought this was pretty cool. So there's a man in my house. He's so big and strong. He goes to work each day and he stays all day long. He comes home each night looking tired and beat. He sits down at the dinner table and he has a bite to eat. Never a frown, always a smile. When he says to me, "How's my child?" I said that I've been studying hard all day, trying to be hard to understand the golden rule. I think I'll color this man father. I think I'll color him love. Said I'm going to color him father. I'm going to color him love. He says education is the thing if you want to compete, because without its son, life ain't very sweet. I love this man and I don't know why. I expect I'll need his strength until the day I die. My mother loves him, and I can tell by the way she looks at him when he holds my little sister Nell. I heard her say just the other day that if it hadn't been for him, she wouldn't have found her way. I think I'll color him father. I think I'll color him love. I got to color him my father. I think I'll color this man love. Our real old man, he got killed in the war. She didn't know what she'd do with 7 kids and couldn't have gotten very far. She said she thought she could never love again, and then he stood with that big wide grin. My mother married him and he took us in, and now we're looking to that man with that big wide grin. I'm going to color him father. I'm going to color him love. I'm going to cut that short, but you get the drift of it. So it is a big thing to be a father, diversity. I'm glad to see this valley getting more alive, downtown alive. And when I want to leave you with this quote from Ernest Holmes today. I don't usually use my phone, but there was no way I was going to remember all this, like it just happened this morning. The road to, and this is what it's all about, freedom. I grew up Choctaw, and my grandmother lived on a reservation, so there's a lot of people that have been impaired in this world. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. The law of mind is a natural law in the spiritual world, and that's from Ernest Holmes out of The Science of Mind. So with that, I'll leave you with that. I hope bring up those spirits. I'll color him father, and I'm going to color him with love. Thank you.
Thank you,
great.
Michael.
That's great.
So in continuing to lift our spirits,
that
I'm going to
quote.
need your help with this song. It's called Spectacular Joy. And I wrote this song to really tap into those emotions that raise my vibration and help me feel alive and aligned. Spectacular joy,
Spectacular joy.
incredible joy, miraculous joy,
Miraculous joy.
spectacular joy.
Spectacular joy.
I don't know what freedom feels like until I choose. I won't know what freedom feels like until I choose to feel that glorious love, abounding love,
Abounding love.
infinite love, glorious love. I don't know what grateful feels like until I choose. I won't know what grateful feels like until I choose to feel that generous light, that healing light, radiant light, generous light. I don't know what happy feels like until I choose. I won't know what happy feels like until I choose to feel that spectacular joy, incredible joy,
Incredible joy.
miraculous joy,
Miraculous joy.
spectacular joy,
Spectacular joy.
glorious love, abounding love, infinite love, glorious love. Give me that generous light, that healing light, radiant light, the generous light. I don't know what freedom feels like until I choose to.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Michael. I love your quote by Ernest Holmes, your lyrics, and then Astra. We don't know what freedom feels like till we choose it. That is so right. As we step into this idea of to be free and free to be, and it is a choice, but sometimes it is difficult to do. We know that being aware is a path of freedom, that our mindfulness, our awareness, knowing what and who that is a way. And it's not always easy. It doesn't mean like, oh, I choose this and suddenly you feel free. It's not an instant thing, but it is a continual process of finding that which limits us, that which contains us to express ourselves more fully. I do have a little humor here before we begin the regular part of the service. So this was told by the graduation a couple weeks ago by Dr. Edward Viljoen at our graduation. I thought it was a good one. So there's a story of a man that went to heaven, and he's in that place of decision, where they decide whether he should go to heaven or hell. And of course, we don't believe in hell, but it's just a funny joke, right? So they said, you've lived a good life. You actually get to choose whether you go to heaven or hell. And he goes, I get to choose? That's great. Okay. So he went to heaven, and there was this like harp music playing, and everybody was very peaceful, but there wasn't much going on. There was nobody really talking or anything. He goes, oh, okay, I could do that. And then he went led to where the sign said hell. And so he went over there, and there was this great music playing, and there were people dancing and having fun, eating all this food. And he comes back, goes, oh, I'll choose hell. And so he goes to hell, and suddenly he gets in there, and people are yelling and screaming. There's people are upset at each other, and there's all this blame and shame. And he comes back quickly. He goes, wait a minute, that's not what I saw. I saw these people having a good time. And the person in charge says, oh, that was the brochure. So we as people need to look beyond the appearances and look at not necessarily relying on what people are telling us, but experiencing it for ourselves. What is heaven? What is that which is seeking us? And with that in mind, we have 6 people I would like to honor this morning that have chosen a path of heaven. So I would like Dana Adams, Virginia Gadalaskas. How do you say your last name? Gadalaskas. Shauna Marshall, Don Pickney, and Michelle Wilson to come up here, please. So the other person that wasn't able to be with us today is Sean Boyd. For the story for you guys, his car broke down today. And it was an act of grace, because he said he didn't know if he could make it yesterday to the panels, and his car made it here fine. I think it was an act of grace that happened, because his car was not ready to go anywhere. But anyway, what I want to honor these 5 plus Sean, that for the last 2 years they've spent in practitioner training. And they finished the course. It's a long process, right? lots of papers, lots of classes, and they finished the class, they passed their written exam, and yesterday, right here in the sanctuary and back in my office, they went through a panel of peers, one minister and two practitioners, who asked them questions about their consciousness, about their intention as a practitioner, what a practitioner meant. They had to pray and pretend. One of them would pretend they had a certain issue and they'd pray for them, and they all passed. So I would like you to be introduced to 5 new practitioners, plus Sean, so 6 new practitioners here at our center. So, Don, Shauna, wow. You know, you're the one whose brain goes, and then Michelle, Dana, and Virginia. Let's all give them a round. Let's raise up. Let's all give them a standing. As well as Sean that's up there. So, yay. So they will be available for prayer, and we'll have official installation of them in July. Their stoles are on order. They're not here yet, but when they get here, we'll have an official installation, and we're excited about them joining. And already they're telling me, well, I want to do this, I want to do that, to classes and different things. So it's exciting to be a part of it. So congratulations. Thank you. So exciting. I know this is something that I've wanted for a while, to expand our practitioner corps. So it's so great to be for them to be a part of this. So, and thank you for all the practitioners and others who supported us yesterday in that process. It was a long day in that process. So back to this idea that what we do creates freedom. Our consciousness, our mindfulness. We package Malabi, Buddhist in the tradition of Buddhism, for the men today to give them a reminder of their spirituality. But it's all for all of us to remember our spirituality as well. By the way, any of them that are left out there, anybody can have. So on the way out, if you want to take one for a significant other in your life or for yourself, feel free to do that. That'll be great to do that. So what we know is that we can set our intention to be free of any false beliefs, and it may take time, but we can be liberated. What I know about, I think the purpose of the faith traditions is to liberate. And many other faith traditions have this. And we tend to emphasize liberation here over salvation. I'll let you know a story that I was in my early 20s when I went to a fundamentalist church, and I decided to be saved. So this was in Texas, and literally the pastor, Larry Lee, took a group of us down to a river, a real river that was like 30 feet across, and fully submerged me in the water, and it was a spiritual experience. I mean, God is God, right? God is God. And it was a mystical moment. But you know what it didn't do? It didn't save me from myself. And I love this teaching because it gives me the tools to practice and the mindfulness to let go of things that are within me, beliefs or hurt or trauma that I need to let go of so that I can be liberated. My favorite story in the Bible, I like many of them, but my favorite story is actually Moses. And because his story is one of liberation. Not only did he be the reluctant person who went to go tell Pharaoh, this mighty king, to let his people go. Even though he didn't want to do it, spirit in him was the power and the encouragement to do it. But once he took the Jews and led them towards the promised land, there they were in the wilderness, and they sent scouts. This is the part of the story that I just love. They sent scouts out to look at the land where they thought was the promised land. And of the scouts came back, a majority of them said, oh no, there's big people there, there's scary people, there's scary things there. We don't want to go there. 2 people came back, goes, it is a beautiful place. There are other people there, but there's plenty for everybody. There's an abundance in that. It is the land of milk and honey as promised. But the people believed the fear of the others. And they stayed in the wilderness for a generation, for 40 years, before they had the mental equivalent to step into what their abundance really was. And how often do we do that we stay in the wilderness because we don't think we deserve it, or we're caught in our own beliefs, our own fears, our own anxiety? It is what Spirit has promised us, and it's what Spirit gives us the courage to do if we will allow it. You're welcome to stay in the wilderness if you want to, but Spirit is encouraging you to move on and move in to your abundance. What's interesting, the African Americans that were brought here by the ships against their will, the slave owners attempted to convert them to Christianity, and they were resistant to it because the slave owners were only telling them certain stories out of the Bible, the ones about obedience. And then they started hearing these other stories about liberation. And those are the ones they began telling themselves about. They told orally to each other. They wrote songs about them. Now are the original, probably the only original music America has ever created. Out of that, many things have come. But the American spirituals that came out of that are stories about liberation, not about salvation. Because that's what they heard. And they found freedom even in their constraint that they had. Indigenous people now are reclaiming their beliefs and their practices because they find that in their freedom, despite the colonials that tried to, what the phrase is, kill the Indian but save the man, right? And LGBTQ communities are celebrating even in this time when there seems to be a step back in our treatment of them. They just... I wasn't able to go, but the other night at Blue Note, they had a drag show there. Did anybody go to that? Anybody? That they had a drag show and so they're having different events this month here in Napa and, of course, in the Bay Area. And Juneteenth, there are celebrations of that throughout the Bay Area too. And that's just an awareness that we have of being mindful. And what I think is important to talk about this in terms of our freedom, that we don't realize that setting boundaries is actually a path towards freedom. It sounds an oxymoron or an opposite, not logical to think that setting a boundary actually creates freedom. But if you think of a wilderness area, boundaries are set so no motorized vehicles will go in there, or a preserved area, a conservation area like the Napa Land Trust does here. It preserves it. There's an area that you probably know is called the demilitarization zone between North and South Korea, where no person is allowed. But guess what's happening there? The nature is just flourishing there because there's nobody there to interfere, no hunters. It's an amazing place, but no one's allowed to visit it. I'm a little concerned that Mother Earth might get some ideas. So let's not tell Mother Earth if she doesn't know about it, to extinguish people so that nature can thrive. But this is also not only boundaries we set for ourselves, but legal boundaries that we have. That we know the Stonewall protest in June of 1969 is why we have Pride Month now, and that's when the gays and lesbians would no longer want to be treated by the police with brutality that were coming into bars and arresting people for merely looking gay, and they set the boundary and that they find the freedom where they are. And we can find that same kind of freedom. Nancy Levine wrote a book called Setting Boundaries Will Set You Free. And she said that a limit that you set is define what you will or will not do and what you will or will not accept or tolerate from others. So boundaries are the container which our authentic self can reside within that. It's not a restricting that we do. In fact, people in recovery will tell you their blue line, as it's called sometimes, not to use alcohol, as created freedom for themselves. Some people choose to set a blue line about sugar or caffeine or a certain behavior, and they have found freedom in not always being, oh no, that's not my food. That's not my choice. I don't do that behavior. So they're not tempted to that, and they find freedom in that. And what we know is sometimes lines are important. What do you think about this turtle? Do you think it should cross the line or not? Sometimes our advice of our friends might be a truth that we need support on, that we allow that. What I know is that joy is just an experience that we can have once there's a structure there. And another structure we want to establish both for our own behavior and for how we want to be treated with the Platinum Rule is to ask people to have healthy communication. And the Sufi rule that Rumi talked about in his poetry is for communication to go through the three gates of is it true, is it necessary, is it kind? That we monitor that in our own communication as well, as we don't want to be, we can stop even if somebody's talking about somebody else that's not important. We just say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be a part of this. It's not true. It's not necessary. It's not kind. It's not any one of those keeps it from being a healthy communication. So we know that being aware is a path of being free. And I know this week in my weekly email, if you saw it, that sometimes I notice that certain annoyances or frustrations can become very subtle in my behavior, and they can affect how I respond to people or my general mood. Now, when I'm angry or in grief, I notice it, but I don't always notice it when there's a slight annoyance. And so I've been more intentional about that, being aware that I can notice the source of that or just to let it go. And often when I listen to it, those annoyances, it is asking me to let something small go. Or perhaps it's telling me to establish better boundaries or practice self-care. And it's in that willingness that I find greater peace and comfort to be true in that way. Ernest Holmes says, irritation, vexation, and confusion go hand in hand to rob us of our birthright to peace, comfort, and unity. So just these simple irritations that we can be aware of and to let go. And finally, I think we find this freedom because it's a space to be authentic. Brene Brown says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. So I really believe in our mindfulness that we can find that which is keeping us from finding peace, finding joy, and letting it go. I love the story of Nelson Mandela, who was very angry about the minority white suppressive government he was experiencing in his homeland, South Africa. And he was jailed for his anger and his riotous behavior. And in there, he found freedom because he found forgiveness. And he was able to come out of jail, able to lead people out from love, not hate or anger. And forgiveness was the key. Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, talks about how when he was in a concentration camp as a Jew, that he, during a moment of hard labor, even though he was in heavy grief from most of his family members being killed by the Nazis, he found joy in the simple singing of a bird. He found freedom in that, liberation, even though he was still digging this ditch. Lorraine Hansberry, if you don't know who she is, she was a playwright and civil rights activist. She gave a new voice to countless marginalized artists who are women, black, and or queer. At 21 years old, she wrote the play A Raisin in the Sun that debuted in Broadway in 1959. Became the first woman black playwright ever to reach Broadway. In 1961, it was a film starring Sidney Poitier. And what's interesting about her story is she was an advocate her whole life about civil rights. She was following in her father's footsteps, who was a lawyer advocating for black people to receive equal treatment in housing. As you know, looking at the Napa history, we have our own history of excluding blacks from owning properties. And but she was also not so open about being a lesbian. That was a private part of her because it wasn't safe. But then it was illegal to do that. And so she continued to fight and advocate for all people in her writings. And right before she died at a young age of 34, she met with several teenage writers, and she just encouraged them and told them that they were young, gifted, and black, and continued to write. So she inspired so many people for this. And finally, I want to talk about Jeffrey Marsh. Now, Jeffrey Marsh, from very early age, recognized he didn't fit in. He later identified himself as a non-binary gender expression. He wanted to be called by the pronouns of they and them. And I want to let you know that my personal challenge over the last 10 years is understanding trans people and people of different orientations and non-binary gender expressions. And so he was at a time when he struggled with it too, not sure where he fit in. So his strategy was he went to a Buddhist retreat center and he stayed there for 20 years, learning how to find forgiveness and peace and understanding. When he came out in a big way because he began to write and be himself because he found comfort in being himself, not pleasing others, but a comfort in who he is. This is Jeffrey Marsh today. Just let your mind roll around that image, right? Is there a card file in your brain able to process who Jeffrey Marsh is? How about we don't try and define Jeffrey at all? How about we just allow Jeffrey to be Jeffrey? And that's what he is asking. He is not the gender of boy assigned to him at birth. He's not a trans woman. He's just Jeffrey, a non-binary activist. He's gone on to be a celebrity activist, the first one to use the they-them pronouns, an LGBT keynote speaker, including TED Talks, wrote a book called How to Be You, to stop trying to be someone else and start living your life. And quite frankly, I think that's a good statement for any of us. I know for myself to stop trying to be someone else and start living our own life. What I know is that Spirit, through us, is seeking us to be our unique self, to reveal in us that which is authentic in us. And it may help for us to establish boundaries, but I know it's helpful for us to be mindful and aware. Ernest Holmes says the divine pattern would be imperfect without you. So dare to be yourself. Stand in wonder before the majesty and might, the beauty and power of the divine presence, which seeks expression through your individual life. You're a unique person. We are one, and out of the one comes many, our unique self. So be willing to step out with courage and love and be you, and support others to be themselves as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Georgia. Let's go to prayer. What I know in this moment, that there is only one God, one life, one love, one beingness that is within us all. We are all one. I know Spirit honors all of our expressions as unique and powerful and real. And I know that each of us step into this truth within us and are willing to express in the way we know how in this moment. I know Spirit in us continues to encourage us to be mindful of anything that keeps us from expressing fully who we are in this moment. And I'm just so grateful for the expressions I experience in all of you that are the truth of who you are. I honor you. I honor all. And I'm grateful as I release this word into the law, knowing it is already so. And so it is.
When they said you couldn't do it, when they said you wouldn't win, did you take it for the answer and not trust the voice within? How can they know which way your wind blows? Look inside of you for the truth, the voice inside of you, the calling from within will guide you on your path to heaven. When they tell you life is empty, when they tell you love is pain, can you feel the heart that's aching and the fear that sounds like blame? How can they know which way your wind blows? Look inside of you for the truth, the voice inside of you, the calling from within will guide you on your path to heaven. See yourself as if there's nothing to it. See yourself as if it's already done. And see yourself as if you've already been through it. And you've won when you think you can do it. And believe you will win. You align with life that breathes you and the strength alive within, and you will know how strong your wind blows. Look inside of you for your truth, the voice inside of you, the calling from within will guide you on your path to heaven. 'Cause how can they know which way your wind blows?
This is a time in our service when we invite you to participate in the law of circulation, and knowing that that which you give, you also receive back tenfold in many, many ways. So thank you for being a part of this, whether you are giving online or by texting or checks you give us. We appreciate all that. If I could invite the ushers to come forward. If you would just take that which you give, whether it's something you've already given or something of the heart or something you're giving today, and place it over your heart and repeat with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
All right, this is a new mantra. You'll get it quick. Here we go. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow. Sing it with me. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow. Yes, everything changes with inspiration as my guide. Yes, everything changes when my passion is alive. I move forward with joy. 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 I let love flow. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow. I let love flow. I let everything go. I let love flow.
Wow, good one. So that's a brand new one, huh? I love it. I love it. I love it. It's got high energy. It's great. We also like to acknowledge anybody who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a special gift for you to honor your presence here. Okay. We're all returning. If we happen to miss you, there's the same offer of something free is at the welcome table. You can pick up a Signs in Mind magazine. Also learn about any events that might be coming up. You're welcome to be there. So we raise our hands to everybody today, including those online, and we simply say, we need to change the slide. That's what we need to say. We bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We enter your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. Could I have the practitioners come up front, including our new practitioners? Look at this.
Hey, Jen,
Boy.
Can we remind everybody to share all of our events online, on all your Facebook and all your media?
Sure.
'Cause
I think you just did.
maybe not everybody online heard it, but
So to share any events we post on Facebook, if you're on social media, to repost those. I'll send another email out today that's just for the events this week. And if you could forward those to people or repost them, that would be great. So what I want to let you know is we are here for you. If you would like to stay in the sanctuary for prayer, I'm inviting our new practitioners to do that as well. And it may take all of you to find somebody to pray with. So, but if you're more interested in just having conversation, feel free to go out into the courtyard to do that. So we just, I feel blessed. They're called the healing arm of our center. So I'm feeling healing arms right now. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's all stand for the congregational affirmation and our closing song. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I am led by Spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I am protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Love be with you, peace enfold you, Spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, may good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you, peace enfold you, Spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, may good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you. Oh, love be with you. Oh, love be with you. Oh, love be with you. Love be with you.
As we go forward, love be with you. And so it is.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of science of mind principles with engagement and compassionate action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?